Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome back to Ways Breakfast, the table where we mix big conversations with a little bit of heart and honesty. Every year, we look at the numbers and they tell a story of growth, more universities, more schools, more infrastructure. For instance, we've gone from just 2 tertiary institutions at independence to 274 universities today. We have over 23,000 secondary schools. But that's just the quantity. The real question, the one that keeps us up the night, is about the quality. Why in 2024 last year do we still face crises like 18 to 20 million children out of school, the highest figure in the world? Why so many still struggle to afford healthcare? We are tackling the uncomfortable truth today. Nigeria at 65. Should Nigeria be measuring its success against 1960? My name is Goodness Ide, and of course joining me this morning to demand accountability are our thoughtful and insightful Triumph Akinboye. Let's dive into meet her. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm feeling so great because today is today is the day after the Independence Day that we celebrated yesterday. I mean, I am still soaked. I am not yet done, absorbing the content from yesterday. Okay. So I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling very great this morning.
I can see you. So now let me ask you, yesterday, what was like the climax of your day entirely?
Okay, so yesterday I couldn't do much. I was also grappling with power, so I couldn't do so much. But it started with the whole Independence Day, where we had to talk about Nigeria, my country. And I think we're about to talk about, the other side of it today.
Yeah,
so I can't wait for what
we decided to remain on the positive note.
So today is the day for us to analyze and break down, right? Yeah. So we can face the reality. So I am truly grateful about the fact that, Nigeria celebrated Independence Day yesterday. So that was the highlight of my day, aside that I got to meet with someone, the person traveled into Lagos. So I was able to meet with that person, and that totally, brightened my day. I was really, really glad. So that was what happened. Aside the fact that by late night, I had to be dealing with power. But every other thing was great.
So what do you think, just a quick one, will be the highlight of today's conversation, since we are majorly focusing on one of the basic necessity in the country, education and health?
Well, I think what is going to happen is just like what we've said. We'll be able to actually break down and then analyze some things, so that we don't get too excited. Someone will always tell me, they will tell me something like, there is no point in being too excited, because the moment you get too excited about certain things, you tend to forget, you tend to get comfortable. So I feel like we're about to bring balance. Nigeria celebrated Independence Day. Now let us bring a balance. Let us look into some of the things that are going on. Let us look into some of the things that has happened. So I can't wait. for what is about to happen this morning.
All right, so we can't wait to share you and bring you to today's hot conversation. Yes, yesterday we brought you a mild breakfast, but this morning, I don't know what kind of breakfast we'll be offering you. But we're going on a short break right now to reflect on a significant event in history. And when we come back, we will look through the papers from today. Stay tuned. Welcome back. What are your thoughts on this historical milestones? I would love to hear your insights and perspectives on our comment section. And remember, our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702 500-7749 or 0701 4242 420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now, like and share the link. Tune in to channel 145 on your GoTV and don't miss this. Right now, we'll be moving to the newspaper session, looking at the news making rounds around the globe. And we'll be looking at the Punch and Guardian this morning as my beautiful, thoughtful Triumph will lead us in what she have on the Punch newspaper.
Do you know that whenever you call me beautiful, it gets me like, oh, really? Am I this beautiful?
You're beautiful.
Thank you. So let us get into what is making headlines this morning and the front page of the Punch News. Okay, so we have quite a number of interesting story, and it leads with Pinkerton strike. Pinkerton strike for the past, since the start of this week, you know, has been making headlines. NNPC laments losses as union halts action. Writers to the story, 16% of crude output, 30% of gas supply disrupted during strike. Dispute risk economic instability. This is coming from the federal government and from Pinkerton. Suspension, not cancellation. Will strike again if deal fails. Dangote denies victimizing staff. That's the last rider. And this is a story you would find in page 2 of the Punch News. Now, let me quickly talk about this. And what I want to say is that this morning, I actually experienced, or from yesterday that I've been boarding the public transport, I have heard, you know, drivers saying that they are unable to get fuel and that they are now beginning to opt for the black markets, right? This morning, by the time I got to CMS, the amounts that they were charging for CMS to a hotel is a whole lot. And the reason why they are doing that, you know, according to them, is because of the scarcity of fuel. Although, you know, I'm just going out this morning, I've not seen maybe certain gas stations or fuel stations, maybe they are closed and all of that. But I think this NNPC situation is something that we really, really, really have to look into, because according to the Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL, Bashir Ojulari, he has lamented the crude and gas production losses resulting from the 3-day strike carried out by Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Now, the 3-day strike has actually, you know, affected quite a number of things. Right now, it has led to increase. I remember that I was asking you if you actually experience, you know, increase in transportation, you know, maybe between yesterday and today. But today, while I was coming, I actually witnessed that people are having to get to work at a different price. And, you know, this Pengasan, this whole NNPC, Dangote strike and all of that, it's just a whole lot. I was listening to somebody and then the person was allegedly saying some things that, you know, maybe it's from the president, it's from this, it's from that. But whatever the reason or whatever the purpose is, let's not forget that the nation in the past 2 days has suffered a 20% power supply shortfall. Did you have power in your... I did not have power in my house yesterday.
So
I did not have power in my house yesterday.
We had to run on
and that was why I was
fuel.
complaining this morning. We also had to run on generator.
Yesterday, I saw in the news that the federal government had interfered in this situation. So I'm still wondering what is still happening, that we're not getting a total solution to this issue. I mean, it's almost over a week now.
We've been talking about
the Pengasan, Dangote.
The back and forth between Dangote and what's it called has even been happening since. But this Pengasan strike, you know, it started this week. And it's so much. And this action was caused by, you know, this battle between the union and Dangote refinery. And it has forced down, you know, it has forced the shutdown of major oil terminals, gas plants, power facilities, leading to the deferment of 283,000 barrels of crude oil per day and 1.7 billion standard cubic feet of gas daily, choking off vital income streams from the country's two biggest revenue sources. I think this thing has to stop. I think they have to reach an agreement. But I don't... Let me move away because I still have other things to talk about. I have been talking about Pengasan strike since Monday, but this is the situation that we are having right now. People are having to get to their workplaces, you know, at a different price.
Everybody's
that they did not plan for, honestly. And now it is beginning to affect everybody.
And yesterday, we had the president coming out to say that the economy is great. It's wonderful. It has increased compared to previous years. So this is the result, right? This is the result we're getting. And that's why over the time when, yesterday, when I checked through the site and surfed through the online and everything, I found out that what exactly are we doing in Nigeria? Like, our leaders will come out to say, so thing is working, everything is going fine. And in the long run, I mean, within a few hours, you get to see that, you get to see the ugly side of the truth. It's so alarming and so annoying that yesterday we did independence, celebrating positivity in the country, how far we've grown, we've moved past. Even comparing it to 1960, I mean, how many years is 1960 to now? So it's just so... It's so wonderful. Let me just put it that way. But lead us to the second story.
Let me lead you. I'm just going to take like 2 stories. I still have 2 interesting. I think they are quite a number. For the whole week, we've not really been having like interesting stories. Maybe, you know, but I have one here. Fubara sacks commissioners, authors. Before I move to, you know, the one that experts are coming to say that Tinubu's reformed, you know, they are yet to ease hardship. Now, Fubara sacks commissioners, others. Fubara is back in Rivers State. Fubara is back in Rivers State, and we have been seeing, you know, a lot of back-to-back. Now, you know, Fubara is telling us that he has decided to let these people go. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has sacked all commissioners and public officers serving under his administration. And this sacking, you know, came with immediate effect. That was yesterday evening. You know, and this whole decision, you know, it has come from the Supreme Court. So they are leading these people, you know, everybody, all commissioners, all public officers sacked. According to what what the things I said, he thanked the members of the cabinet for their services and contributions to the development of the state in the last 2 years. So now let's not forget that during what's it called? If you recall that during the immediate past administrator of the state, that's Ibok, on an assumption of office, they suspended all the commissioners, special advisors, and special assistants to Fubara, who was suspended by President Bola Tinubu following the declaration of a state of emergency in the state. The IBAS dissolved all boards and suspended head of parastatals that he met on ground. Now, he has exited, he left the state on September 18, you remember, right? Mm-hmm. The fate of Fubara's commissioners and other appointees had been hanging in the balance. And now, you know, Fubara came on board and let them go. I was thinking, now what's going on? What's about to happen? So this, you know, these are some of the things that has been going on between Fubara, you know, in Fubara and Rivers State. Yeah. And there is so much more that is going to happen. And I really cannot wait to see what is going to happen. It is quite unfortunate for the people who are to, you know, lose their job. I mean, yesterday you were employed, today you're no longer employed. It is quite unfortunate. But let us even see, before I, you know, start saying anything, before I start, you know, analyzing things, you know, from the place of a critique, let us see the other things that we follow after now in Rivers State. I will be following this story very closely. And then to the other one here, this one says, Nigeria at 65, Tinubu's reform yet to ease hardship. This is coming from Expert. We're going to be talking more about that, so I'm not going to do so much because our time is fast spent. So, as Nigeria marked its independence anniversary yesterday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you remember that he rolled out a list of what he described as milestone that he has been able to achieve in 2 years. But everybody is coming out and have warned that while the macroeconomic indicators point to stability, households continue to grapple with unrelenting hardship, rising food prices, and fragile livelihoods. I mean, our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is always coming out to say that I am doing well. You remember the time that this man dragged him online, saying that Sowore dragged him that why would he go on, you know, global stage and say things like that?
There's no more
and here he's saying again that, you know, he has been able.
I mean, I think our leaders just do the talks and not the action, right?
Or maybe they are doing the actions and then it's not getting to us. Because I want to believe that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu keeps on saying that, you know, we are doing so much, we are doing this, we are doing that, let people also be able to see the things that you said you're doing. I am not saying you're not doing anything, but I am saying that carry the citizens along. Let them see. Because honestly, citizens are not agreeing to these things that our president has been saying. So bring workings, bring the results. We've already talked about accountability so much on this platform.
I don't want us to dwell much on that because we're going to explore that further. So let me just take one quick story on the Guardian newspaper before we go on our break. It says, as the Guardian leads with leaders call for reforms on poverty, insecurity, faltering democracy. Above the masthead, we have a story that says Tinubu and Ododo mourn as victims of Kogi boat mishap rise to 26. That story is on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. Alongside the story you made mention of Dangote's rift with Pengassan, unfortunate, says man. And yes, beside that, we have probe plots to fleece Osun local government of 12.75 billion naira, and PDP tells IGP and EFCC. Same page 3 on the Guardian newspaper, and we have a very beautiful picture of the president, and that's His Excellency with Senator Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar, giving his congratulatory message on Nigeria's National Day celebration. So looking at the mishap that happened, Tinubu Ododo mourn as victims of Kogi boat mishap rise to 26. Now, the Kogi State Governor Ahmed Usman yesterday, that was even during the Independence Day, paid a condolence visit to the Eje of Ibaji and the chairman of Ibaji Area Traditional Council at his residence over the loss in a boat mishap. And represented by his deputy, Joel Salifu, the governor assured the people that the state government would not relent until efforts to rescue the remaining victims have fully exhausted. I'm wondering how long they want to, rescue people that already come with such a misfortunate happening, and it's already over almost a day because it happened yesterday, and you're still saying you're trying to rescue the remaining victims. So, however, a report says that the state government had reported an additional 6 deaths after the initial 20 victims in a statement by the Commissioner for Information and Communication, that's Kingsley Femi Fanwo. So over the time, I've been seeing this story reoccurring even on the newspaper, right? Always having both mishap and everything. Even there was a time in Lagos too, such situation happened. And I'm wondering, at what point are we really going to put our safety first? Because I feel if you are embarking on a boat, right, a particular person needs to wear his or her life jacket. That's one of the safety you need to maintain and observe. But you know, in country where anyhowism is the downplay, I feel this is the situation and the results we get from such not following the rules and trying to bend the rules. I know that this can really happen. I mean, in Nigeria, people will tell me, just, but nothing will happen and everything. And you can't even tell what is going to happen, the storm, the waves, the tide. So it's such incidents are things that should be exempted, right? That should be worked upon. I don't think it's something that we should still be experiencing, even when we have other safety measures. Or what do you think? Because you're smiling.
You know, like I said, Nigeria is 65. There are certain things that is expected of somebody who is 65-year-old. But it's quite unfortunate that we don't see some of those things, right? I believe in Nigeria. I believe in my country so much because I cannot be Nigeria as much than another person cannot be as Nigerian as I am. So I am a Nigerian, right? But these things are things that should be focused on. We should not at this point be grappling with certain things. We should not be talking about certain things. We should not be talking about, the state of insecurity. We should not be talking about the state of education. Because sometimes some of the problems that even citizens have to experience or encounter, do you know that if they were educated on some of these things, they might not have had to go through it. They might not have had to experience it. So I think that these are the things that we should start focusing on as a country. If not, we are going to be here for a long time.
All right, so we'll put a stop on that as we go on a short break right now. And when we return, we'll get into our hot topic for this morning that says Nigeria at 65. Should Nigeria be actually really measuring its success against 1960? Please stay tuned. Welcome back, our dearest viewers, and yeah, we are on the table to discuss the true reality of our independence. Yesterday, the president gave a speech, and in between the lines, we had to lift some things to check the true reality of it. The topic this morning says, Nigeria at 65. Should Nigeria be measuring its success against 1960? And over time, the argument that things are better now than in 1960 rings hollow for the millions living in poverty, battling poor health care, and worrying about security. We've had more of everything, but our institutions feel weaker. In education, for example, we see positive moves like, the Student Loan Act and the resolution of the ASU strike. But those wins are overshadowed by the security crisis of mass school abductions and even the huge number of children out of school. Let's get right to the heart of the matter. If things are truly better, why do we still prefer the yesteryears? That leaves a question in your mind, right? And now we're going to be talking about this topic with my beautiful co-host Triumph, as we're going to be bringing out the reality of these words, of this statement. I mean, yesterday it was a day of, you need to make all the noise, blow your trumpet. But the following after comes what? Judgment. And yeah, we are not the judge, bringing the justice to these, but we are the eyes that need to have different views to see and evaluate if the statements are really true. Let's start with the topic first.
Our president,
yes.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has come out and say, one of the things that I mentioned, he said he has served with his life. He said, according to what he said, let me say it the way he said it so that they will not go and quote me the wrong way, right? He said, fellow compatriots, this is the third time I will address you on our independence anniversary since I assumed office as your president on May 29, 2023. In the last 28 months of my administration, like our founding fathers and leaders who came before me, I have committed myself irrevocably to the unfinished nation-building business. Now, he mentioned so many things that I am going to be talking about. He mentioned different things. But see, 1960, 2025 is different. We cannot measure success based on that. All right? Because even in other countries, they are not where they are as at the point of their independence.
Yes.
They are not where they are 65 years ago. So when we start talking about measuring success, I mean, he said a great one. Of course, I will always say my president, give a great speech before I start saying anything. But he gave a great speech by saying that, he gave the comparison that as at the time of the independence, I think we only had maybe like 2 higher institutions. He mentioned maybe Yaba and then College of Technology, right? University of Ibadan and Yaba College of Technology as the only 2 tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And that by the end of last year, there were 274 universities in Nigeria, and then 183 polytechnics, 236 colleges of education. So, would I say Nigeria has moved in 1960 compared to 2025? Yes. There's so many things that we couldn't have access to back then. For example, in my mother's days now, with her friends, my mom would tell me that you have access to so many things, you have privileges. It was not like that. Because the rate of, the way we are accepting technology, the way we are accepting certain things, the way we are evolving, it happens like that with everything and everybody.
Yeah.
However,
growth is a constant change.
Growth is a constant change. It is constant. It is normal. I don't think it is something that we should now come out to say that, okay, we want to measure success on it. Now, take a look at you. At the beginning of this year, you must have had some things that you wanted to do, that you wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
So you measure success based on the plans, based on the vision. What kind of Nigeria do we want to see? That is what success should be measured on. Success is not supposed to be measured on the fact that, okay, I was like this before. If I was earning 200,000 maybe monthly last year, and now maybe I am earning 700,000 monthly, I am not measuring success based on the fact that I was earning 200,000 last year, but based on the fact that what are the things that I was able to do. Because if you're earning 200,000 last year and then you're earning 700,000 now, honestly, your expenses then will definitely catch up with the 700,000. So let me first start by saying that what we measure success on is not on what we wear, but what we actually want to achieve.
What you even said, you actually hit the nail on the point, right? I mean, you can't be comparing a whole country's success. And we even call ourselves giants of Africa, right? And you're not going back to 1960. Even before his administration, where he had said he had done so many things, we've had past presidents that had done so many things for the country. So the benefit of what we're even enjoying presently is not as a result of just him. And that's why we're talking about collaborative effort. We're talking about togetherness. It's the effort of all the past presidents we've had on seat, even from the time of even the military rule and everything. So imagine when we got our independence in 1960, obviously Nigeria was still at its prime time. You can't compare it to then. There was no technology then. Even schools, I could remember then when my lecturers was even saying, yes, that during the time when they were in school, school usually served them food and everything. Like they go to the cafeteria to eat. The school itself, as at that time, served them food. And aside that, they had a library where they go to read. Currently, yes, I know we have a library in our schools, but if I even weighing it out, because our major focus this morning is on the education and the health sector aspect. If you look at the education sector right now, is that where it should be at this point?
What kind of question are you asking?
Are we saying that we need to go backward? Because if you don't compare things to, that's more like how many years? 65 years ago.
In fact, I feel like if we are comparing something and then we are comparing to what it is at its first state, it's just like comparing a 30-year-old adult to that particular person when that person was just 1 year. It is different. It is not the same thing. There are certain responsibilities that a 1-year-old cannot do, regardless of whatever you give to them. And it is the same thing. Growth is constant. I mean, when growth comes, it comes with responsibility.
Even the opportunities they had at that time,
they can't have it.
Years, it can't be compared to
what we have now.
Because now we even have more advantage. We have more understanding of how to manage a particular country, because we've had so many dealings with even the ambassadors of several countries making bilateral ties. I mean, those things were not really that open as at then. So I'm wondering how we are comparing our present-day Nigeria 2025 to the growth of 1960. It's kind of weird to me. And okay, now let's even explore further. Looking at the education sector in Nigeria, how many government schools will say that they have everything they need to have? Because it's said that education is now perfect. It's good. The healthcare sector is now good. So how many good infrastructures do we have in place in the public schools, in the federal schools in Nigeria?
Whenever our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, talks, I always stand in the position of it is something that is believing, is open to happen. And then, you know, there is something that we all do that it is best for us to be saying the good things that we want to experience so that we would finally experience it, and not always coming bitter, not always coming, you know, in a terrible way. But I think that on the day Nigeria is celebrating their independence, what we need is truth. The truth that we can see.
Yeah.
And you're telling me something else. Let's look at the state of education in Nigeria. Of course, it is different from 1960. Like I said, it is not a measure. That is not how to measure success. You don't measure success based on what it was like at the beginning states.
Yeah.
But what is it like presently? And if we continue at this rate, what is it going to be like years to come? When we talk about education, we are talking about the accessibility to education. I was reading about the report, you know, the report from excerpts, the report from the experts, that they are coming out to say that Tinubu is saying that his reforms, you know, as East are cheap and all of that. But you made a very important point. And you mentioned something like, you said something like, what is that thing? What is that thing? Now, I am not talking about policies now. I am talking about innovation. What is that innovation that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would say that this is the innovation I've given to Nigeria? I talked about Obasanjo's internet. Till today, some people don't call social media. They call it, Nigerians call it, some Nigerians call it this Obasanjo internet. What is that thing that we can hold on to so that when you leave, I understand that there is so much damage, there are so many things to work on, you know, in the country. In fact, I accept that sometimes, even when the president is doing certain things, we might not be able to see it at the grassroots levels, right? But what is that thing that you're going to do that when you're leaving? Because all these things that you listed here, all these things that I mentioned now, they are things that it is normal with growth. As we are growing, they are going to be coming. But what is that thing that the president is going to say that this one is what I did?
Now,
this innovation. Yeah. Now, I'm calling it innovation, not policies now.
Maybe he brought the Student Loan Act because...
The Student Loan is not an innovation because these are part of the things that people should be able to have access to.
Probably he could have said, you know, the Student Loan Act could have cushioned the effect
and he mentioned the Student Loan Act, funny enough,
fees and ensuring that we have more of the youth in schools. But the thing is, taking a look from the southern part, let's move to the northern region. From there we come down. We've had several cases where children that are going to school or that were in school were being kidnapped. And you're saying education is now good in the country. How many, as of last year, we had a total number of students that were out of school in Nigeria that was recorded, and which was the highest worldwide. So I'm wondering, where is this, because I'm sorry to say, I attended a federal school, even to the university, but I really don't see any great change in the school.
Goodness, if we're talking about education, right, I feel like before the government, the role of the private, you know, the private thing is different from the role of the government. Now, when we are talking about the government, we are also talking about the basic. I always come here to say that when something is basic, we are not supposed to be talking about it. But unfortunately, we find ourselves talking about it. So, if education is basic and education is yet to be accessed in some part of the country, I am trying to look away from or maybe somewhere like Lagos or some other big places. Let's go to the northern part. Education is still a far cry in some places.
Of course.
And it should not be so.
And even from the 1960, where he measured, when he mentioned, right, the northern region have always been below when it comes to the education issue. Because even at the time where we're supposed to even get independent, a little bit in the history, we saw that the northerners, as at then, were part of the people that were trying to retard Nigeria from getting independence on time. Why? Because we had more of the western and the southern people, which they were more educated as at then, and they see that that was like a barrier between both regions, because as at then we're still even into that region structure. So if we are comparing education, we should also look at the northern aspect of it, the northerners. Do they really want to go to school? Even if they really want to go to school, what is their safety? How safe would they be?
If education has not got into every part, every community, I said it, at least in a community, there should be a government school. A school by the government to take care of these people. But if education has not got into every community, then there is no point. And that is even a school, or maybe a secondary, talk about secondary primary school. Now, let us talk about the quality of education.
Before we get to the quality of education, let's take a break, and when we return, we'll continue with this conversation. Please stay tuned. Welcome back on this Waste Breakfast. And of course, we're still talking on part of the president's speech made during the Independence Day concerning the education and the healthcare sector. Now I'm going to say a statement that in 2024, we still face crisis like 18 to 20 million children out of school, which has been the highest figure in the world. And here we are talking about education as everything is working fine. So I'm wondering, Triumph, is it because of the students alone? And even if you look at things, because I was even saying it behind the scene when we went on break, I talked about the current school fees in federal universities. How much is it? As at the point in few years back, I think school fees then, I paid around 40-something thousand.
Yes,
and now
like
currently school fees, as I was given an information about, is about 200 and something thousand in a federal university, government university in Nigeria.
State government
our minimum wage, how much is it?
No, do you know how expensive state-owned universities are? They are even more expensive, like way more expensive. So let me even start mentioning their names.
Even if you are calling these things basic, they are basic things every citizen needs to benefit. Then it shouldn't be up to that amount. I've known of countries where I can mention.
Goodness,
we have in Germany countries that school there is free for their citizens.
Goodness, you're going to You're going to a higher institution. You're going to tertiary education. Let's talk about primary and secondary education. I mean, once you're done with secondary school, you could decide, because the state of our country right now, tertiary education is even a far cry. We are yet to be able to access the basic primary and secondary school, primary 1 to primary 5, GSS 1 to SS3. Go to school. People have not been able to access that. I mean, take a look at the number of people that are out of school. Aside out of school, do you know that it's funny that in secondary school we have things like dropouts? You are dropping out in secondary school. I mean, you've not even gotten into tertiary education. You are dropping out. Why? Because you're unable to afford it. And I was mentioning earlier that let's even leave education aside. You're yet to make, I'm not saying the president, I mean the government now. I'm not talking to the president. But the government is yet to make education, the primary and the secondary, primary 1 to SS3, available to all communities. Because you cannot tell me where this 15 to this 20 million out of school. If it is accessible in all community, at least, even if they will walk, even if it's just one in that community, even if they have to walk to schools, maybe to whatever school it is that they are going to, but they know that by the time they walk to that point, they are going to get access to education. Now imagine that in the northern part of the country, these people are trekking long distances, hours, spending, whatever to get to school. It is not, they don't have it in their community. By the time they are going to other communities to go and school there, talk about the state of kidnapping in that area.
Overpopulation.
In these areas that we are talking about, state of, unrest. These people cannot even step out. So the best thing that anybody can do for them is to actually make it accessible. Like I said, let's even leave tertiary, primary to secondary. There is nothing. Now let's go to the quality of the education. This one, before I even get to the northern part, even right here in Lagos, in all the other states, I've been privileged to travel to just a few number of states. And I can tell you for a fact that when you go to government schools, the quality of the education is very poor in some government schools, right? There are some government schools that the quality of the education is great, but you see, it's a different thing to say that you're attending a federal government school.
Yes.
It's a different thing to say that you're attending a public school. When you say that you're attending a public school...
There's always a difference between federal school and public school.
And I'm like, so who set up this public school in the first place? Because the federal... If you even say that maybe you're attending a federal government school, you would imagine that, okay, maybe it's going to be better. But when you hear public school, just know that the moment you're hearing public... You're already hearing the fact that the quality of education will not be great. Now, these people, by the time they graduate from SS3, they cannot even stand as a competition as qualified enough to be enrolled into a tertiary institution.
And even to other countries
And
compared
even
to
to other
that.
countries.
Because, I mean, we're not supposed to be comparing our growth with 1960. Rather, we should be comparing our growth with other countries. At this same present time, this same year, what are they doing in their own country? How far have they gone? Now, we even talked about, he talked about having 274 universities compared to 2 universities we have. It's a number of having many universities. It's a matter of, are they of quality? That's the truth. There was a time we read on this table concerning a particular state where they had to close down some certain schools. Why? Because a particular area was more populated and they don't have enough infrastructures and even learning equipment. So they had to close down a certain number of schools to just move the funds allocated for that particular one to this other one. What are we saying? Having 274 universities does not mean that education is better or is good.
Is it the people that are yet to afford to, get access to primary to secondary? Are they the one that want to attend this tertiary 274 universities and 185
I said that public schools, sorry to say and to put this out to you, public schools in Nigeria, I will call it a Gary school. Most of the public schools, yes.
Aside the quality of education, now let's talk about the quality of the infrastructure.
It's so terrible.
If you go to these schools, the way they are built, the way it is managed, aside the fact that sometimes they used to do renovation. You get to some public schools every year that they do renovation.
Myself.
Every 2 years that they do renovation.
I attended University of Benin. Whenever we are having lectures, like a combined lectures, you will surely see, and I can bet it with you will surely see that some students will still be standing to receive lecture. What kind of state of education are we creating for our youth and for the younger ones coming? What?
Goodness.
You are receiving lecture, you are standing. How do you want to assimilate? Even the environment is not even conducive enough.
Goodness, let's even leave university. Shebi is the person that attends primary and secondary school that would be able to get access into universities.
All right, so let's move away from education. Let's just quickly talk on the health sector, because these two things are quite intriguing for me. Because now you made mention, we've talked about the education, but not enough. But we're going to put a stop there. Let's look at the healthcare sector in Nigeria. How many people have totally free access to the healthcare sector? Not just saying, oh, okay, they're not paying bills. Mind you, when you still even go to all these government hospitals, they'll still tell you, go and buy this. Go and buy this one. We don't have this. You need to pay money for your cotton. You need to pay money for this. Please, it is not just about reducing the rate of kidney dialysis of the news we read the other time, subsidizing it. That's not what we want in the healthcare sector. We need more than that. We need qualified doctors. I read a story where one particular doctor in the news, currently of recent, had to treat a whole number of patients. What exhaustion is the doctor going to experience? How many times have we had doctors in the country embarking on strike? Even recently, we had that situation.
It is so funny, but that is the Nigeria we live in, that the healthcare system is going on strike. I mean, people are on life support. People are getting oxygen. People are receiving oxygen. People are dying. People are sick. People need emergency care. People need just the basic care. But guess what? Doctors are on strike. If we cannot take care of just these things, then there is so many things that are wrong with us. Because if you take a look at the healthcare, let me give you, summary of the things that we are grappling with. The state of the infrastructure in that system. The state of the people. The quality of the people. Because let's talk about the quality of the doctors. As much as we have trained doctors, getting into the government-owned hospitals and all of that, let's talk about some of them are not even quality.
Yes.
Because we still have quack.
No, use the word. We still have quack doctors. It's a reality.
Doctors, getting the access, living rent-free, treating and taking care of patients. Aside the one that are now quack, the quality ones are not even being taken care of properly.
Of course. And that's why they all have to flee from the country.
Now we have the pandemic of doctors. Beyond doctors, we have the pandemic of the youth saying that they want to jackpot. The jackpot syndrome. The jackpot syndrome has eaten so deep. If we look at the education sector, would you prefer to be a federal government school teacher?
Me? I wouldn't, I'm sorry.
So,
because even the salary structure is very
How would
poor.
you be getting, or a public school teacher? So there are a lot of things that we should look at, that we should critically analyze as the government. I mean, whoever or however it is that they put this thing together, that they allowed the president to, deliver this speech.
He made mention of some statement, and I want to put it out there, concerning the healthcare. He said they have better infrastructure, they have good financial services, telecommunication, information, and tech, all this. So I'm wondering, where are these really in the federal-owned hospitals?
No, let me be on the side of the government right now, in the next 1 minute, because I will change my side definitely. But honestly, when you go to federal-owned hospitals, you would rather, the quality of what you get in a federal-owned hospital that you consider great, if you go to a private-owned hospital, an ordinary citizen, an average citizen, we actually prefer to go to the federal-owned hospital because they would have better access. It might be expensive, but it wouldn't be as expensive. So maybe that's what the government, they decided, they thought about, they put together, and then they said that, yes, it is, maybe they are doing something about that, but it is not enough. If the poor cannot access these things that we are talking about, beyond, I know that it is expensive to actually run healthcare, because it is expensive. It is a whole lot of money.
We have money in Nigeria, please. There is money.
Hold on. But I'm getting somewhere. It might be so expensive to run this healthcare, but guess what I have seen in other countries? Even if you are poor, there is something called, there are loans, there are funds, there are organizations by the federal government that takes care of these people. So when they come and they have emergency, rather than in Nigeria, where if you have emergency and you don't have the capacity to pay, that they just leave you, and then people are dying, the situation of people are getting worse. It is only in Nigeria that they will bring an emergency patient and you can leave them down.
Let me read this comment. This is from Okwayemi Okwayagbe. It says, comparison is the basis for development. If we are to compare, especially in the area of education, things are worse. I want to take that word again. If we are to compare, especially in the area of education, things are worse. I once went to a public school in Ilorin, and the environment was not fit for pigs.
Thank God.
That was a whole lot.
Thank God I'm an Ilorin person, so I can agree with him. Now, guess what?
Thank you so much.
In my own mom's day, in my parents' day, back in the day, that they don't even have much schools, and people went to more of government-owned hospitals, government-owned schools. I tell you that then it was better than what we have now. Let me give you a school, for example. Don't let me even mention the name of the school, in Ilorin. Then, that school was more quality than what they have now.
Okay, let me read this one more comment again. From Okwayemi, continuation of what he said. He said, talk less of children schooling in that environment. That's where he made mention of the school in Ilorin, where it is not even fit for even pigs, imagine, and they have human beings there. Now, there's another comment from Deborah, attaching to Okwayemi Okwayagbe's comments. He said, now, that's just diabolical. Nigeria is the giant mess of Africa. Woof.
Deborah, I stand as a Nigerian citizen. I represent the federal government, and I would say that you should take it easy on us. I'm almost crying for what you just said.
All right, so I would actually love us to talk more on this, because really these two basic things in the country are things that we can never stop talking about. But this is just what we can take as we are wrapping up, and just understand clearly that the beautiful numbers about schools and infrastructure are meaningless if they don't translate into broad prosperity and security for the Nigerian person. Do stay tuned tomorrow, same time, same station. Bye.